Davi, you really make me laugh. Hey gang, don't mind me, just reading in the old nook. How you doing? Hope you're doing well. Sit on down and we're going to take a look at How to Become the Dark Lord and Die Trying by Django Wrexler. Django's Unchained, baby. He ain't fucking around. And let me tell you, the very first words out of this were crazy to me. I was not expecting this kind of book. There was so much cussing in this book, I thought I wrote it. Done, done, done with this shit for real. No more. Davi, you ain't Davi, that's for sure. This is a tale of an isekai anime, if it were one, where our heroine, not to be confused with what I do on a daily basis in my veins, is sick of the same old bullshit and ready to become something bigger than we are. Okay? She wants the spiky shoulder pads and horned helmet, and she's horny to get for it. Our good friend Matt Dinneman says, a sarcastic, action packed, intrigue filled misadventure. One of the funniest books I've read in a long time. Thanks, Matt. You helped sell me on this particular book. I was in Barnes and Noble the other day picking up my copy of Dungeon Crawler Carl because I wanted to support the author. Highly recommend doing that with books that you like. And I saw this. It was literally face out, like this, on the bookshelf, really putting it out there. And I said, you know what? Look at you. Look at you, book. Aren't you something? I'm in the current process of reading about a certain Dark Lord to my children and the Wizarding world that many people are slightly upset about that particular author, but separate the art from the artist, am I right? P. Diddy, baby. Don't support the diddler. Put that man in prison. And this really struck out at me again because of the premise. Just from the title, I could understand the premise as my cat tears apart my child's puzzle that she did on the floor. Cat, don't do that. It jumped out at me as something that would be a fun little misadventure and one of the funniest books of all time. Of time? It's a funny one. It's different. It is easy to hold, as you can see. It fits well in my hands. And I'm just going to go out on a limb and say that this is my favorite feature of a publisher ever. These little dark parts at the end of the book, me personally, as a reader, I like to find out how much I'm into. Okay? Every book can be a little intimidating when you're looking at it on the shelf. It can be extremely long in view, but it actually doesn't take as long for you if you're like the average reader and read about a page a minute. This one is 392 pages, and the way that I figured that out is by looking at these darkened edges and being able to ascertain exactly what I'm into right away. Another book that does that from the same publisher, shout out to Orbit Publishing, is of course Senlin Ascends. This is the one that I'm currently reading. Same thing. Darkened edges. I don't know how well you can see that on the camera, but darkened edges there that determine how far you have to go before you finish the original story. Now, this one is a this is a two-part series. This is part one. The little preview here, the extras, are a snippet of the second book, which coincidentally just came out in May of 2025, which is literally like a month ago at the time that you see this video, 2 months ago perhaps, and I'll be getting it shortly because I would very much like to finish the story of Davi. So, I have rambled on just a bit because I am very much into this particular novel, book, And we're going to go over our criteria real quick again of how we rate these. One is readability. How difficult is the book to read? Two, the actual cover, because I like to judge every book by its cover. That's typically what makes it jump out to me. Three, should you have this book on your bookshelf? Four, what is the plot? Is it good? Is it worth reading? And five, are the characters something that you would be interested in? And based on those things, I'm either going to say yes or no. It's going to be either pass or fail or a 1 to 5 categorization ranking. Sometimes we hiccup as we say words, lose our breath, if you will. So, first and foremost, the readability of this particular book. Like I said, I'm done with this shit for real. No more. Okay? This is a 1.5 out of 5 in terms of difficulty to read. This book is easy to read because it's written in a it is written with a modern take. Okay? There's no effort to be pretentious. There are no overly difficult words. By the way, bring back the word quaff for drinking things and doff for putting on caps. Okay? He doffed his cap and strode across the hallway. Precipice? Strode across to the precipice. She quaffed 18 potions just to make sure that she could get through the day because life is hard. I like the word quaff. I don't even think it's in this book, but I like it. This book is not hard to read. What I did find was interesting is that it is very meta. There are many of these little references where there will be an asterisk at a word, and then all of a sudden they'll be like, look down at the bottom and it says, think, turning over a rotting log and snarfing down whatever you find. This is in reference to, things that nobody considers actually being food. There are moments where it references a bunch of stuff from the quote unquote real world, not to be confused with MTV's Real World or its partner Road Rules. That's the kind of thing, that's actually a perfect example of something that you would find in this book. The author would probably write something like that, not to be confused with MTV's The Real World. And then there would be an asterisk, and at the bottom it would be like, or The Road Rules series, featuring Theo Vaughn. And that's why I thought that this was fun. It's meta, it's very aware of itself, it is funny. It honestly is funny. I only actually laughed out loud 1 or 2 times, but I did that thing where I'm like, that breath through your nose that you take. And overall, it was a fun read, but the difficulty of it, a 1.5. The cover art, a 3. Font jumps out at you. That part's really good. The colors are about what a Dark Lord would expect. You have a visage of what a Dark Lord should look like here in the bottom left corner. And, you know, it's not fantastical, but it jumped out at me. Solid 3. Should you have this on your bookshelf? As a parent, I probably shouldn't have this book around. If I got the ebook and did a control F and looked for the word fuck, I would bet that it's in here at least more than 300 times. There is sex in this book, bisexual sex. The character is bisexual, which actually leads me to a hilarious Goodreads review that I found. Perhaps I'll screenshot it or do a little bit of a look-see at it. And a certain female reviewer was extremely appalled at the fact that Mr. Django Wrexler had the audacity to write a bisexual female as being hyper horny. And that's honestly what Davi is. She's fairly horny. You can tell that she was written by a man. And if that's not your thing, well, move on. That's fine. I, again, am not you. You're not me. We're different people. And that's the way it should be. We should be our own person. just like Dobby, who is a little bit outrageous. So that leads me to, should you own this book yet again? If you're a parent and you maybe don't want your kids stumbling upon this too early, the answer is probably going to be a resounding no. Go ahead and get the ebook or just get it from the library. Definitely read it, or I wouldn't be recommending it or reviewing it, period. But yeah, if you don't want them to read the word fuck or even know that that sex exists because you're an abstinent Christian or Amish person for whatever reason, you wouldn't even be viewing this video, would you? You would have been like, oh, this book needs to be burned, light it on fire. And we wouldn't even be having this conversation that's one sided because I'm talking to a camera and you're not actually there. I, however, am a parent and did buy this, but I did not know anything about it beforehand, so it now will live on my bookshelf outside, not the one that they can easily go in and just pick a book off of and start reading. I still think that overall, this one is going to be a not a must own. This is not a must own. This is probably one of the first books that I have reviewed where I've said, yeah, you could probably get by without having this book. As long as you read it, as my cats fight, like Naruto and Sasuke on the floor in front of me, um, you don't have to fight over putting this on your bookshelf. It's not necessary. But I still recommend that you read it. It's a very fun read. Like Matt Dinneman said, one of the funniest books of time. The plot. Clearly, the plot is described in the title. How to Become the Dark Lord and Die Trying. So I mentioned that this is similar to the isekai series of animation from Japan. Japanimation, if you will, or anime for the learned. One of the most popular, if not most frustrating genres that have come out of the Japanime Foundation is the person transported to another world. That is coincidentally similar to what Dungeon Crawler Carl is, except it happens on his own world, and he's thrust into a universal geopolitical scrum that he's going to get his way no matter what. It's a great read. Anyway, this particular book, the plot is, like I said, how to become the Dark Lord and die trying. What does that mean? Well, our heroine, Davi, again, directly into my veins, is on her 237th life at the beginning of the story, possibly 238th. I don't remember. It's not like I have it in front of me. So that means that she's done this a lot. She's been around for around a century, according to the canon of the book, and she's a bit tired of the same old, same old. So she's going to go out of her way to, instead of save the kingdom, which is what some wise old wizard tells her when she first meets him in the pool that she wakes up in. You die in a pool of blood, you wake up in a pool of pleasant ice bath ish type of vibe. Without the ice, it's just you wake up in a pool. You die in a pool of your own blood, you wake up in a nice, refreshing pool with an old wizard looking at your naked body. Not weird. Everybody's done it from time to time. As most wizards, they're not really into sex. They're more into, making sure a newt can become something else. Or how to cure cancer, Anywho, they have decided they don't want to do that anymore. They're going to take the culmination of all of their knowledge because just like in Diablo 2, if you've ever played hardcore mode in Diablo 2, you get to retain your personal knowledge of all the things that you did that you fucked up and continue to make your character and just try to improve and live longer than you did before. There's something in my pocket and I don't know what it is. Oh, it's the lens to the camera. Anyway, you get to keep your knowledge and use it too. So Davi decides that they're going to take all of their 238 lives worth of knowledge, say fuck it, and become the Dark Lord instead. She's tired of the Dark Lord kicking her ass. It's different Dark Lords every time, so she ascertains that at some point somebody new can become the Dark Lord too. And that's her journey. That's the plot of the book. I thought it was interesting. I don't remember a time where, other than Ernest Hemingway, who didn't say but did say it's good to be bad, somebody decided, you know what? I'm going to be the bad guy instead of just being the nice guy, you know? Maybe Nicolas Cage in Face Off, but he was bad the whole time. Just like his acting, am I right? Hey, man's got to work. And that brings us to the rating, not the characters, the rating itself. The plot, again, different, some of the same, but not exactly the same. So a solid 4. Yeah, we're going to go with 4. Characters. You've got the wise old wizard who makes a brief appearance. You have Dobby herself, and then you have her band, which becomes a horde, which becomes a band, and then becomes a horde. It gets misrepresented as a band, and then, grows from there. Girl's got to have an army. If you want to be the Dark Lord, you've got to have someone to lord over. You need minions. So you have Davi, you have her minions, you have her Dark Council, because there are Dark Council meetings with robes and pentagrams, but they're on back row at the moment. You have Sav, which is an orc female that currently runs the band that Davi first runs into. You've got some of the side characters in that band. You've got a wolfkin type of person named Emmett Surugu, Emmett Subaru, Subaru Forester, and he's a good scout because he can go off-roading in his Subaru. Then you also have a lizard named Lucky, which is one of my favorite characters because he just makes brief little comical appearances and is a stupid little lizard. You've got a rock guy, similar to later in the Dungeon Crawler Carl series. There are rock monsters, and his name is Droff. Again, Droff. You know where I'm going with that. And then, of course, you get some of the bad guys, which don't really pop up unless it's in the very, very beginning of the book. Sabire, I believe, is one of the main villains. And at the very, very, very end of the book, um, you get some Iron Clanker, can't even remember his name, Artaxis, I believe. That is exactly his name. She wonders how he poops. Again, very meta, very childish in some cases type of book. Um, and from there, you just kind of go on your adventure and you do misdeeds and near do well, thievery, murder, challenges of champions of bands and whatnot, random quests that you have to embark on because every fantasy story has a quest, whether it's clearly outlined as a quest or not. And overall, I found the characters pretty enjoyable. I really did. Some of them can be a bit, you saw where it was coming, you know? There's a double cross, a triple cross, and a quadruple cross if that's what you're into. And it happens fairly quickly into the book. And then you'll see how it comes into a quintuple cross as you continue. And I think overall the characters, a 3.5. 3.5. Um, it could be a 4 if some of them were explored a little bit more. Now, perhaps by the second book, we could be in 4 territory. So maybe a nice 3.75. So you round up and then you get 4 anyway. Let's just say 4. It's a 4. We'll give them the extra point for originality. And I think with that being said, we would give this book a solid 4, just a flat 4 out of 5. Again, easy to read. Unless you hate curse words, then you're probably not going to like this book at all. So don't bother. Um, Decent to look at. We all like something decent to look at. Not really something you need to own, but something that I feel like you should read. A plot that's a bit different, some of the same, bit different, but at this point, with 2 centuries of books under our belt, what isn't the same in some aspect anymore, and characters that you'll enjoy and vibe with, and want to kind of see what happens, honestly. So, yeah, we'll keep it a solid 4. That, ladies and gentlemen, is Dobby's How to Become the Dark Lord and Die Trying by Django Wrexler. A solid 4 out of 5. Find it, read it, tell me if you read it. Leave a comment below that you hate Reddit and read this instead. And as always, like and subscribe and look at the little blinking thing down in the corner that's telling you to subscribe with a little bit of psychological trickery. Skinner boxes, am I right? And as always, come on back to the Nook, take a look at the next book, and see what might fancy you.